Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Shots Fired podcast. As usual, you got your boy Big Joe.
Got your boy J-Had.
Got your boy Ruben A. Smith.
Ruben A. Smith joining us on the podcast. Julio Don is somewhere in South Texas currently.
On the road again.
He just can't wait to get on the road again. And Trill still has the Rona, so prayers are still going out to him. We have an amazing show lined up for you. We've got a crazy WTF moment of the week, specifically for the state of Texas. We've got some breaking Dallas Cowboys news, and we got a couple of other topics, including a pretty, I'd say it's a pretty intense bro code. So let's get started, man. Let's hop in like we do every week. We'll start off with that WTF. What the? Alrighty. So when I heard this news, guys, and you heard it the same day, same time I did. I know you did. When I heard the news, the first thought in my mind was, WTF is going on in Texas. We've got the governor of Texas telling everybody, you know what? We're open in the state of Texas. It's wide open. We're taking off the masks, and we're just going back to life pre-Rona. We got Joe Biden saying, hey, now's not the time for Neanderthal thinking. And we have the governor saying, this guy's letting all these illegal immigrants into the state, and they got that Rona, and he's just leaving them into our population. He's just letting them loose in the population. We should probably not wear masks. He says, Texans, you just got to keep rolling. I don't know why he kept emphasizing rolling, but I mean, he said, you know, he was at home and he was thinking about it. His wheels got to turning. And he was like, hey, we're just going to keep rolling on. Just going to keep rolling on. That's what I heard. So
he was listening to Limp Bizkit, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling.
Keep rolling. That must have been it. But yeah, man, we're opening up Wednesday. And as of this recording, we are Monday. When the video will come out, time will tell.
Maybe
You may be seeing this after the state is open, or hopefully you'll be seeing it before the state opens. But yeah, man, we're going live on Wednesday, and I'm not sure how to feel about it, man. What do you guys think? What's your mindset on that?
Go ahead, Rubes.
Yeah, no, I think it's very premature. You know, so just to share, my family got personally hit really hard with, COVID. Mid last year, I lost 5 family members in a month, all due to COVID, and including my dad. So to me, talked about COVID and things like that really hits home for me. So to me, one thing that frustrated me the most, especially when Trump was president, is how it became a very political thing versus a healthcare concern, right? It's literally split down the middle. Majority of Republican or Trumpers, right? It's fake, no masks needed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Versus, everyone else is like trust the science, you know. But to me, you know, I think mask is more than just, you know, self-interest, right? To me, it's about caring about, you know, your fellow, you know, in this case, Texans, right?
Yeah.
Caring about your family members and things like that. You know, but to me, it's very premature, especially how the vaccine's rolling out. I mean, I think I saw something that, you know, the rate Dallas is you know, with the vaccine and how many people are getting vaccinated, that we would have been, you know, it would have been herd immunity by June. So to
Mm.
me, it's like, what's a few more months, right? But it comes to find out, man, these Texas politicians that happen to be Republicans. I'm not a political man, you know, but that happen to be Republican.
I think based on your resident status, you're not even allowed to vote, right?
Wow.
I mean, I could be wrong.
I passed the test before Trump became president. I didn't
Oh,
want to get
okay,
sent back.
good.
I'm strategic with everything I do, Joe. But no, man, you know, but what I was saying, you know, I think all these, you know, as I mentioned, these representatives and leaders, political leaders of Texas, as I mentioned, who happen to be Republican, time and time again shows that they don't care about the common people's interests,
Mhm.
regardless if it's their power being on or the health. I mean, we're still going through a pandemic.
Yeah.
So that's my original stance. I think it's too premature. I think we're headed in the right direction, but we're losing, we're getting too lax, and we're going to start seeing a spike coming in. Spring breaks happening right now, guys.
Yeah.
So
Can't wait.
wear your mask.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm sorry for your loss, Ruben. That's I didn't lose any family members, but I know friends that did. I had a friend that lost 17 in his. I mean, that's double digits. That's
Yeah.
I can't even think about that. I don't even think I have 17 cousins, to be honest, but it's crazy to, like you said, know and understand that politicians don't really care about us. Like Michael Jackson has that one song, they don't really care about us. And I mean, that was back in the 80s, and he was telling the truth. So it's man, it sucks.
He also did Black or White and
He
Billie
did
Jean and
he did a lot of great hits, bro.
Eat It.
A lot of great hits, but you know, uh, I think you're dead on with it being premature. There is why should we go mask off when not even probably half the state is not vaccinated yet? Like, I mean that's what I thought we were. I thought that was the goal, was to get people vaccinated, then open back up. But now you're complaining and saying that Biden is letting illegal immigrants in to spread the virus and all this, right? So if that's the case, what point does it make to go maskless? So the virus is out there. Why don't y'all go ahead and take your mask off? Just give it to everybody. If what you're saying is true and it's out there like that, let's go mask off and give it to everybody. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Zero. None. Nada. I don't know what's French. Nil. I don't know what else to. I don't know how to. It doesn't make any sense at all what he's doing. The only thing I can think of is he's trying to get reelected, and politicians are going to politic.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what he's doing. He's deflecting all the negative attention that he garnered for himself with that fiasco that happened during Snowvid 2021 here in Texas.
The
He's
ERCOT?
deflecting. Yeah, he's deflecting from the ERCOT situation, and he's trying to, you know, he's giving you the sleight of hand. Like he's showing you one thing, but he's doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to put the blame on Biden. He wants to put the blame on everybody else, so that he doesn't have to face the mob in terms of everything he screwed up about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
But
He doesn't want to deal with it.
but that just shows how stupid he think we are, man.
Yeah,
Instead of
yeah,
it being another notch on his belt on what he's not doing,
yeah. He's doubling down.
he's doubling down.
Yeah, and my question to you guys is, if and when the spike happens with COVID cases,
Mm-hmm.
will he be bullish, or will he do like he did last time and pull back and say, "Well, that was a mistake. It was premature." Where do you guys think? I feel like he can't go back again. He can't go back and be like, "Oh, we messed that up again."
No, I mean, the first time he did it, he knew it was a mistake, and he had to come out and say it, like, "Oh, well, I shouldn't have done it so soon." Now you know what you're doing. You see the numbers. They've gone down some. They're not down to where they need to be.
The numbers are looking good. They're better than they've been in quite a while.
Right.
What is the science? What is the evidence? What are the stats that you're looking at that tell you now is the time to reopen the state? What are you looking at that's telling you Wednesday, the 10th, is the perfect time to say, let's remove the mask mandate?
Right before spring break.
Right. Now, I've got people on my Facebook, on social media that are like, hey, he's giving you the option, but if you want to still wear it, wear it. If you don't. And I agree with that. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm not going to tell you how to roll those dice.
Right.
If you feel comfortable in public with no mask, more power to you. If you feel comfortable continuing to wear your mask, more power to you.
Right.
But again, you have to think it affects more than just you.
Mm-hmm.
It affects those around you, those you love. What happens if you do, accidentally contract it, and maybe you're asymptomatic, but you pass it on to your kids or your spouse
Or
or your mom and dad, right?
Yep.
What do you do? Do you feel bad if something happens to them? God forbid.
That's the whole reason why. I mean, on the other podcast, I get called a hermit, and you don't go anywhere, and you don't. Hey, I'm not giving it to my parents. I haven't given it to them yet. So, and I have to go over there because all my woodworking stuff is over there. So they haven't gotten it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't. I'm trying to keep my parents here as long as possible.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, bro. Like if you're not gonna do it for anybody else, like you, me, or Ruben, yeah, you don't know us, but you have to take that into consideration,
Right?
And you have to think the long game. Don't be about the short game. It's the long game. Think about everybody around you that you love and you care about. We had somebody, like you said on the other podcast, that had coronavirus, and they asked, hey, if you had already gotten it, would you consider getting the vaccine? And my response was, I want you to think back on all the pain and suffering you went through with the virus. And she struggled bad. And it's tough. And I told her, think about that and ask yourself, am I A, willing to go through it again, and B, can I handle going through it again? And if that's something you're okay with, don't get the vaccine.
Right.
But if that's something, it's not going to prevent you from getting it by any means, but it's supposed to help kind of decrease the severity of the virus. So, do you want to give yourself a bit more of an opportunity to not have a severe case, or do you want to just roll the dice and say, hey, I'm young, I'm healthy, whatever your reasoning is? I've heard some people that are like, it's all a hoax. We won't talk about it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of factors involved, and I think we as the state of Texas, we're going to lead by example one way or another. But I think this is a bad example for us to set for the rest of the United States. And I'm sure 48 other states are going to be looking at us because it's us in Mississippi that are going to open. So the other states are going to be looking at us like guinea pigs. We're the science experiment. Let's see how it turns out.
Well, I think go ahead, Rube. My bad.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, the world looks at the U.S. right now like we're a bunch of idiots, right? The way we handle this virus.
Mm-hmm.
Now internally, the country's looking at the state of Texas like we're a bunch of, or in Mississippi, that we're a bunch of idiots. Right?
We're
like
ground zero of the idiots.
We're a bunch of dumb rednecks, right? Country folks, and this and that. That's just the image, the stereotype that people have for the people of Texas. But yeah, no, man, I think, I saw something on Twitter the other day where a nurse is kind of explaining her perspective with everything, and she says it's like asking a fireman's telling you, hey, don't do this because you're starting fires, and then all the fires you out there putting out and risking your life on, people are telling you that wasn't a real fire, that's a fake fire, right? And while everyone else is suffering and burning and homes are destroyed. And I was just like, man, that's pretty good, comparison, right? But to me, I trip out, like a lot of these people, these anti-maskers and stuff like this, claim to be pro-life individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not willing to wear a mask to protect life, because you're using it to protect others, not yourself.
Right.
Because you kind of, like you said, Joe, you can be asymptomatic and not know, and you can be fine, not impacted, but you're spreading it like wildfire. But I don't know, man. As you guys know, it kind of hits me close to home. So I think everyone kind of, to me, like you guys said, live your life, right? But to me, telling Jay, hey, you're a hermit, like a derogatory statement, like, bro, you're trying to take care of yourself and keep your family safe. Like, how's that a negative thing? To me, that doesn't make sense. I'm a hermit right now. I would never tell him that. So
yeah, I would never shame him.
You shame me for other things, but
right,
not being
right. I mean, I'm going to shame you for
my
plenty of
quarterbacks and
plenty of reasons, but
yeah,
choosing to be home ain't one of them. What were you going to say, Jay?
And I don't think it's just us in Florida. I think there was like a whole list. I saw a map.
No, it's us in Mississippi.
Well,
that are going to reopen.
Mississippi. Well, I think Florida is like right behind them as well.
Geographically?
Well, no. I'm saying I saw a map last night that had like all the states that were going to open after we open. Like there's like a list of.
They say like how long they're going to wait?
No. It was just a list, and it was like, what do all these states have in common? And basically, they were Republican-ran states. Basically, that's what it came down to. Democratic states are going to stay closed, and whatever. But
I mean, I hate to say it, but I knew he was dead from the waist down. But damn, from the neck up, bro, you can't get it together. You're just
In the
gonna put.
Gotcha.
words of Don, is this where you want to be when Jesus come back? Is this
Is
really where you
this where you gonna? So because Mr. Wheels decides we're gonna keep on rolling, and it's a mask off. State of Texas, we getting that WTF moment of the week. What the?
Wow.
Ruben throws.
That's God taking Ruben out of the equation. So
Yeah, he's like, you don't need to be involved in this
no.
shenanigans.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, it's frozen, fam.
Oh man.
So next subject is breaking news here in the DFW Metroplex. There we go. We got Ruben back. And that is, we've got ourselves a $160 million man. And that is Mr. Dakota Prescott. He is set to sign a 4-year, $160 million contract with 126 fully guaranteed. And I don't know. Like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. He's getting them ducats. And if you know what ducats are, you've heard that word. Please. These fools don't know what ducats mean, but I'm excited, man, because we have I don't have to hear the talking heads hate on my Cowboys anymore. I don't have to worry about the draft. Now we get to play in the free agent market. We know what we're going to go after in free agency, and it's not going to have to be a quarterback. We have our long-term solution. And by long-term, 4 years, I mean, that'll put Dak, he'll be 32, 33 by the time this contract's up. So I'm okay with it, man. And I'm excited to see what we do. I'm excited to see the moves that we're going to make. And I'm glad that Dak finally came around. He didn't break the bank, which is something I'm thankful for. And I think I'd be interested to know what he told his agent, because we still got the years. We still got the years that we wanted, because last year we wanted 5 years and he said, I want 4. And then this year we got the 4. So he came off of that, and he's averaging 40 a year, which is, I think, right around what we were offering. I think we're offering like 37 was the last time I heard. So we went up, he came down, he met us. And what was scaring me was, before all this came to pass, the rumor was he was asking for money right behind Patrick Mahomes' money. And I was like, who in the hell have you been smoking with? Did you get faded with Zeke? Because you are in outer space thinking you would get money like that. So I like the compromise. I like the contract. I like the security. I like the familiarity. And now it's time for him and Mike McCarthy to get together, and let's push towards some kind of a title here, man.
So
Yeah,
you honestly think that we're going to get a title?
No, I'm not. Who in the NFL can you look at and be like, for sure they're going to win a title? Nobody. So I'm saying this gives us security. It gives us some kind of certainty as to, okay, this is what we need to move forward. That's what I'm saying.
We have a $20 bet on who's going to win the title next year, sir.
And that was? Remind me.
Tampa Bay.
Or?
Tampa Bay.
Or so I get the field and you get Tampa Bay.
There is no or.
No, I'm saying I get the field and you get Tampa Bay. That's what you're saying. I get 31 other teams, and you get Tampa Bay.
No, you have to pick.
No, you
Yeah.
said Tampa Bay is going to win, and I said they're not going to. They're not going to repeat.
Back to back.
They're not going to repeat, and you said we'll bet on it. So I get the field, and you get Tampa Bay.
Sure, if you want to look at it that way.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Rubes, Ruben A. Smith. Let me hear what you got.
Pay that man.
Uh-huh.
Paid him. No, man, I'm with you, Joe. I think we were able to kind of move forward with everything. I think that's what was holding us back these past couple of years, and now we know what we have. We know how long we have it for. Now we can start building. I think for the most part, outside of offensive line, offense, we're pretty set. We got the weapons and the the receivers. I like what Dalton Schultz did personally this year. If Jarwin comes back, that's great too. But I'm okay with not getting a tight end. But Zeke, Pollard, I like that tandem. Defense needs a lot of work, and that's where we can focus on the draft. We can focus on free agency, build all that up, the line and defense. That's why I like it. But I mean, a lot of people, kind of like you said, Jay, will he win us a title? Does this guarantee the title? Nothing guarantees it. Nothing guarantees anything. So to me, I think it's a good move for the team to how to move forward and build on what we have long term. So I think I like it. I like Dak. I like his competitive edge. To me, I think he's still growing, and I think he's going to continue to get better. I don't know how he's going to come back from this injury. Hopefully he. Maybe he's not going to be as mobile, but I think he's a good quarterback. I think he can focus on getting better, where he doesn't have to be as mobile, because the older you get, the less mobile you're going to be, right? Not everybody's Michael Vick, right? Who can continue to scramble at an older age and after a prison sentence, right? But
came back on fire.
Yeah. So to me, I like it. I'm happy for Dak. I'm glad that the Cowboys did him right after this injury he got this year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope and pray that now that we got this out of the way on the back burner, I hope and pray we do the right thing to make this team better. I'm trying to have faith. I'm trying to have faith in Jerry. I'm trying to have faith in Mike McCarthy. But I have a feeling we're going to drop the ball again. And I hope not. I hope not, and I pray not. But we have to fix that offensive line. If you're going to pay Dak that money, fix the offensive line.
Protect your investment.
Exactly. Not only that, give him something to where it's not all offense. We don't have to gunsling and keep up with the other team because they're scoring on our defense.
Well, that was the whole mindset going into last year. Was we knew our defense was bad, so it was we're just going to try to outscore everybody.
Right.
The realist in the room was like, hey, we're obviously not good on defense. We're very porous. Let's just stack the offense, and we're just going to run and gun. And if we can outscore everybody, then it doesn't matter if we give up 35 and we can score 36.
Right.
And then Dak goes down, and then it's like, well, you lose a big piece, and now you have to. Now you're left back to relying on a porous defense. Huh?
A huge piece.
Yeah.
Huge piece of the team. Gone.
Yep.
One play.
He gone.
But I think the defensive mindset was wrong, man. They tried to fit, what they call square pegs into round holes, right? It's like, why? Like, I get you're coming in. To me, I think what Nolan should have done is kind of ran some sort of hybrid, right? Kind of, at least at the beginning.
Bro, that's what we ran. We tried to run a hybrid all year long. That's what got us in that predicament. He wanted the 3-4. We didn't have the personnel, and so he hybrid together a 4-3-3-4. There was no way that was going to happen, especially when you're doing everything by Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Texas is opening up on Wednesday, so we know OTAs and everything else is going to be rolling.
Yeah,
Cowboys is going to be the only team that has a full training camp.
forget a full stadium. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, we pretty much had a full stadium this year.
For real.
Bro.
Canelo's going to be fighting here in May. It's going to be a packed house at AT&T.
I was going to go visit you, Joe, but not no more.
I'm telling you, man, it's tough, but I'm glad that he signed because the distraction is gone. Because every game you watch, you listen to the announcers, and inevitably the same thing came up. This team is not wanting to pay him a long-term deal. Dak's betting on himself. Jerry Jones doesn't want to commit to him like he committed to Tony Romo. Dude, that's one of the ones that really pisses me off. I think that's such a stupid argument.
Yeah.
Tony Romo took those deals, but he was also flexible in, maneuvering his contract for the betterment of the team.
Right.
And he wasn't getting 14-15% of the entire salary cap put into his contract.
Right.
So it's big money that we're committing to Dak. For somebody that's got one playoff game, that's fine, but it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. Who are you gonna go get?
But now,
You're gonna sign Andy Dalton long term?
No,
Hell
no.
no.
What are you talking about? They watched him like he was a dead body. He'll be dead.
He go.
Um,
Y'all want to see a dead body?
Yep, that's exactly what that was. Do you think Jerry regrets paying Ewok, aka Zeke?
I do. I think we'll be out of his contract in another year, maybe two. We'll get rid of him.
I think the bigger regret, contract wise, was Jalen, and I would say Tank. I think Tank's a really good player, but I just think they paid him to create sacks, and he's not doing that. Right. I think
that's what me and Trill always said was he was maybe the best of tier 2, but we paid him like a tier 1 guy.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think they regret those two contracts more than Zeke's. Because I really think Zeke's a very special player. I just don't know what's been happening to his decline. Obviously old age, right? But
according to Joe, it was COVID. That's what Joe says.
Yeah, he did have COVID too. He had COVID and then didn't practice.
These guys laugh when I tell them that, bro. I'm like, you don't understand the effects that COVID has on your body long term. It affects your respiratory system. And as a running back, before COVID-19, did Zeke not already look like he couldn't breathe?
Yeah. He's a mouth breather.
He's a mouth breather. He's like, he literally, anytime they showed him, he's like, so
you're saying he's like a pug? He has a pug face?
That's exactly what he looks like, though.
Ewok face. What you call him, Ewok?
And so you couple that with a virus that affects your ability to breathe,
right?
And you're a running back.
I mean, honestly, though, let's be real. After he signed that dotted line, bro, like it was downhill. it's been downhill ever since he's on that dotted line, bro.
He also had his 2 starting tackles
That's what I was about to say.
out for the season. His Pro Bowl center retired.
Right.
His Pro Bowl guard was hurt.
Right.
The only consistent lineman you had was Connor Williams.
Right. But
which is the worst of the
worst.
5.
Yeah.
If you're that special player, you make things happen. We saw that in the video.
The only person that I've ever seen make things happen that was a
Barry
special
Sanders.
player was Barry
Barry
Sanders.
Sanders.
That's it.
But we saw that. And what I'm saying is the special person that we watched before we started recording, we saw a special person making plays that should have been interceptions, as you say.
Right.
We have a running back that is a special person, but the only thing that happens is fumble after fumble after fumble. So,
and I think part of the reason why he fumbled so much last year, he was not known as somebody that coughed up the rock. So I think that was him pressing and trying too hard. You got to remember those fumbles were coming on losing streaks, and the Cowboys looking like trash. And that's him. That's him trying to score 2 touchdowns on every play.
right.
Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
the stuff that just
right. Trying to hit a 5-run home run. It's not gonna happen. Like it just isn't a possibility. So when you're pressing and you're doing too much, you're behind. And then when you start fumbling, then you start getting in your own head about you get the jitters about I'm coughing up the rock. Now what do I do? So
go sit your ass on the bench.
It's a reset. It's going to be a reset this offseason. He's going to have Dak back, and I think Dak was a calming force for him. They kind of play off one another.
Yeah.
So, bro, it's more positive than negatives having Dak in this building long term for sure.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of his money is going towards his intangibles, his leadership, his walking that line with the Cowboys in step, taking the stand, saying all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not mad at the contract. What I didn't want, and what I'm glad we didn't do, was, and me and Trill, oh my God, we got into this all the time. His thing was it's next guy up. You got to pay Dak whatever he wants. Look at the Rams. They paid Goff. Look at the Eagles. They paid Wentz. And my argument was always the same. Those are bad contracts. You see that those are bad contracts, but you don't want us to learn from their mistakes. You want us to make the same mistake because he's the next guy up. That makes no sense. So I'm glad the Cowboys stood their ground. I'm glad Dak stood his ground. I'm glad everybody met in the middle, and we have that certainty, man.
Agree.
So, Dak getting them ducats, and we are moving on. So, we're now transitioning over to something a little more lighthearted. You know, we may not be able to do this here in the near future now that we're reopening the state, but for the last 12 months, basically, we've been locked down, or should have been pretty much locked down, and we've had a lot of time on our hands to.
Most people were locked down.
Yeah, we've had a lot of time on our hands to just kind of enjoy some of these streaming services that have been made readily available for our viewing pleasure. And we kind of got together and said, hey, you know what? What are 3 shows that, in your opinion, with the pandemic still going on, what are 3 shows you can stay home, kind of nestle up in the couch and just you pop on, turn the brain off, and just enjoy? Maybe over a weekend, huh?
It's a new segment alert.
Yeah. We're going with stream on, stream on. Top 3 streaming shows. Ruben A. Smith, I'm gonna let you go first. What is your number 3?
So my number 3 is Ozark on Netflix. I started. So for those of you who haven't watched it, I say put on the first episode. Was it 20, 30 minutes in? And you're like, whoa, I was hooked. And, just kind of continuously watching, how the family works. And, I won't say too much about the show. So if anyone who hasn't watched it, right. But Ozark's my number 3. It's an awesome show.
Cool. I do have a feeling that show is going to come up later in the countdown. So definitely Ozark for Ruben A. Smith. J Hat, what you got for your number 3 or number 2? I don't think you had 3.
I didn't, but well, you know what? I'll use this as number 3. Number 3, Age of Samurai on Netflix. It's the nerd in me. I'm a history buff. I love history. If you're into the history of samurai and like bloody stuff and like seeing people's heads chopped off and heads on spikes,
Now, is this like a documentary series or is it just like an actual show?
It's a mini series. It's a something you would see like on the History Channel, I would say.
Oh, okay.
But they released it on Netflix, and it was kind of pretty gruesome, pretty enjoyable too, just to see how the samurai lived back in the day and how they went around basically conquering Japan, some of Korea, getting their butt kicked over in Korea, then back to Japan. So,
yeah. So I think my number 3 is going to be The Sinner. And I started watching this on USA Network when it first came out, and I was hooked like right away in the way they kind of break down the story. And it's kind of like a M. Night Shyamalan where you get the twist ending every season, and it's like, oh, like you start watching it and you're like, man, how is this ever gonna tie together? Like none of this is making sense. And then by the end, it's like everything makes perfect sense, and you're just like, man, I never would have seen that coming. This last season was kind of a drag. I didn't really care for it. But if you do get a chance, the first and second season of The Sinner, at least, give it a watch. It's definitely something that I think a lot of people out there will enjoy. So, number 2, Ruben A. Smith.
Yeah.
What you got?
I do like The Sinner as well. So the first 2 seasons. So third one, I agree with you, was pretty slow. But my second show is Snowfall. It's a show that I got into probably early pandemic, and it's good. It's about drug scenes, like probably in the 90s and things like that. So kind of just follows this kid, how he kind of rolls into it and kind of just falls into everything. It's pretty good, man. I really like it. I recommend it. It's an FX show. I think FX comes out with really good shows, and it's on Hulu right now. So if you guys want to check it out, I like it. I highly recommend it.
Cool. J Hat, what you got for your number 2, brother?
I have 2 for my number 2 because when Ruben said that early pandemic, this one was one that I watched all the way through in one weekend. It was All American, the football show. I don't know if you guys watch it. It was on, I believe, the CW or something like that. Great story, great. It kind of reminds you of like Friday Night Lights, but
Bro,
with
I lived that.
black people.
Yeah, I definitely lived that.
Yes, we know. We know.
I was there.
On the prairie.
Yeah.
Ducats.
Yeah.
It's it's a good show. I think they were supposed to do a second season, maybe, or I can't remember how many seasons there were of this show, but I watched all of them in one weekend. And I remember someone getting mad at me because I wasn't paying any attention to them, and I was just like, "Sorry, trying to watch this the rest of this series that I was interested in." And my two A, I guess, would have to be, and I just saw it, and I can't remember. Come back to me, Joe. Come back to me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Tiger King.
No, it's a series. It's
yeah, it is a series.
Like that, though. It's not like that, but it's not Tiger King.
I would say my number 2 series. This is a Netflix series. It is one season. I can't remember if it was like 4 or 5 episodes. But it was Night Stalker: The Hunt for a serial killer.
Yeah, you would like stuff like that.
I thought that was freaking amazeballs to kind of get the build up. I knew who they were talking about, but the fact that you got the detective's point of view, the guys that actually worked the case, I thought that was a different take on it, and I thought that was revolutionary for that whole case and the profile of Richard Ramirez. So I thought that was great, and it was intense, and it was just raw.
Yeah, I liked it too. Have you seen the Hotel Cecil?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know how they talked about Ramirez staying there?
Yeah.
So kind of what I mentioned to you guys earlier in the pre-show, American Horror Story is an honorable mention. So Hotel is based off Hotel Cecil, and it kind of has Richard Ramirez little cameo in there. So you should check it out. Lady Gaga's in there as well. She did a really good job acting on that season. So check that one out if you want to watch American Horror Story. It links both of them up. So or all 3 of them actually. Cecil, Night Stalker. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
might have to look into that one.
Okay.
Jay, had you got your number 2?
I got my 2A. Now this was kind of mid pandemic, but The Cabin with Bert Kreischer. I think if you're looking to laugh,
I liked it. I liked it.
Like get stuff off your mind and just be mindless in front of the TV and laugh your ass off. Watch The Cabin with Bert Kreischer, and I guarantee you will laugh. You'll laugh, especially with Miss Pat's episode. It was great. It was a great. I'm not going to give it away. You have to look it up. Netflix. Bert Kreischer.
Is this the one where there's guests that come in and they kind of sign in the book? Okay, I've seen...
No, I don't think they're signing a book. This is where he rents out a log cabin, and he's supposed to just kind of be away from everybody, just kind of get in touch with himself. But he invites all his famous comedian friends to come spend time with him.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you now I know which one you're talking about. So all the ones you're mentioning, Jay, I haven't seen. So I'm writing a list down here to kind of catch them. Since you're recommending them, so
it's good. You will laugh. I guarantee you'll laugh.
So I guess it's my turn for number
We're
one. Joe?
down to our number one.
So before I get to my number one, honorable mention, 2, 1, American Horror Stories I mentioned. But the other one, this show I watch on loop all the time. And the show's good, but it's also my white noise. The Office. To me, that show is legit. I hate the fact that now it's in Peacock and you have to pay to watch it. But The Office, to me, 2 thumbs up. But my number one binge, Narcos Mexico. Not Narcos Pablo Escobar, but Mexico. That one is like legit. It kind of talks to you about how the cartels kind of formed it kind of reminds me how Lucky Luciano kind of brought the 5 families and brought the mob in New York. I think it was called the Commission back then. So they do the same thing in Mexico, and that's something I never knew. And then it talks like it kind of just tells that story. But the cool part about it is we all know El Chapo, right? We all know him now. This shows El Chapo when he was the freaking driver of the Sinaloa cartel. Like, it's a trip. Like, this guy, Miguel Felix Gallardo, he pretty much saves El Chapo's life and kind of tells him, like, do you want a job? And he's like, yeah. And then it kind of just shows, like,
he was Ernie. He was like Ernie from Scarface.
Yeah, right.
What about Ernie? You want a job?
You want a job? He's like, hey, man, you got a job.
You got a job, man.
But yeah, like, it doesn't really, like, it touches on the Chapo, but it's not a Chapo story yet, but you can see it going there. But it also talks about a DEA agent who actually got killed by the cartel. And that's how kind of like the war against drugs started coming about. Man, I'm telling you, you got to watch it. That one's like hands down, like straight up. I think there's only 2 seasons right now, but there's going to be more in the making.
Yeah.
Cool. My number one is Ozark. Especially with the new season about to start up. I've heard that this might be the last season. I'm not sure, but I'm excited for it. Just kind of what you touched on. It's big. Ruben had a drug theme for his, so that says a lot about who he is as a person. But
I have The Office in there.
he had drugs, and my honorable mention. I'm starting to worry about myself because mine is another killing documentary. I don't know if you guys saw this one on Netflix. It's a little bit older. I think it came out in 2019. It was called "Don't F with Cats."
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of it, but then like the concept of the dude, like what he did with the kittens.
Yeah.
Like, to me, having a pet.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish watching it, man. To me, I'm like, man, I couldn't.
It was a tough watch. Some of it was a tough watch, but the way that these average just nerds found this guy was the interesting part of the story. Like, these nerds got together and helped catch a killer, man, just using the internet. So that was the big story. And so I thought that was interesting. It was, again, something I had never really seen. Like, that concept was new. So I was like, man, that's pretty solid. So I wanted to put that in as my honorable mention, but my number one is Ozark. Like I said, just with a new series, with a new season about to come out. J-Hat, what you got for number one?
Kim's Convenience. Another comedy. I like to laugh. Yeah. Even if it's by myself, I will laugh my ass.
At yourself, by yourself.
By myself. At other people.
You shouldn't laugh at other people. That's just rude. Anyway,
You know,
Oh,
we're
like-
talking about a guy that just clowned our governor. Okay.
but
I
I
don't know
like
what
Kim's
show I'm-
Convenience, Jay. That's
Yeah,
that's a funny show. It's a funny
show. It's a
I really like it.
funny show. And I stumbled across it because I didn't know anything about it. I was watching Mandalorian, and of course the actor in it is a pilot in the Mandalorian, and everybody was, oh, that's blah 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 from Kim's Convenience. And I was like, what is Kim's Convenience? So I went and looked it up on Netflix. First episode, I was hooked, and I watched that all in one weekend, like the whole series. So
Yeah, and I think they're coming out with the new season too.
are they?
Yeah, I looked it up because I don't know. I think I stumbled across it because it was like in like the Netflix top 10, probably because of the scenario you just mentioned, right? Because it kind of just popped up out of nowhere.
Right.
And I started watching it. Well, like the little, you know how when you scroll across, it kind of plays that little trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That is annoying because it's when her cousin from Korea comes in and she talks about how weird and stuff. And I was like, this doesn't look good. But then when I watched the show, I'm like, this is freaking funny.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it a lot. I recommend watching it too.
It was cool to see like a minority other than Black or Mexican. Like it was cool to see. I think there's an Indian guy on the show. They're Korean. Like, it's cool to see that, and it's cool to see that it was a top show at the time when it came out. I didn't know about it until, like I said, this past year, 2020.
Same here.
And I think it's been out since like 2017, something like that. I was like, well, okay. Good show. Great show. Great show.
Yep.
So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was Stream On, brought to you by the Shots Fired podcast. I like it. I think that's going to be something that you know, our viewers and listeners can get into. You know, just these little recommendations. Got nothing but time right now, guys. I don't know how much longer, but right now we still got nothing but time. So enjoy it. Moving on to the final segment of the evening. Boys, this is heavy. This is a bit of a conundrum if you are caught in the middle of what I would consider a devil's triangle, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, let's say you are friends with two different guys, right? And we'll do it one better. You're really close friends with two different guys, and you find out one of the guy's girlfriends is messing around with the other guy. So, just as an example, my girl, Gerald's the odd man out, right? And it's me and Ruben. He's friends with us, but my girl is messing with Ruben behind my back, and it's on Gerald. He knows. As a bro, what do you do in that situation? Because it's bros before more bros, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I've actually been in this situation.
What do you do? Is there a right thing to do in a situation like that?
Wait, were you the odd man out?
No, yes, I was the one who knew. And it was just like a drunken confession, right? It was just like we were hanging out. And he goes, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, what? And he tells me, and I'm like, what? And I'm just like, nah, you bullshitting me. And he's like, nope. And then sobered up. And then I had the real talk like, hey, bro, this is what you told me. Were you just drunk or what? And he's like, let me show you text messages.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh. I was like, why'd you show me this, man? But to me, man, to be honest, probably a horrible friend or a good friend. Depends on whose side you're on. But to me, I kept my mouth shut and I said, you either have to end this or y'all have to tell them.
Right.
I
Yeah.
said, but don't ever bring it up. And I remember something like years later, we're all hanging out, getting drunk, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, Ruben knows my deepest secrets," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like,
No, bro.
Oh no!
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
You ain't going there, bro.
But yeah, nah, man. Like I
Bro,
said,
I'd have been like, bro, I'll slap your face. You keep trying to throw me under the bus.
yeah, no, man. Like I said, I lived it, and I was like, it's none of my business.
Right.
And to me, I'm like,
Did you keep your mouth shut because you were more friends with one guy than the other?
no, they were both. I was close to both of them.
Oh, that's even tougher, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a scenario where it's like your boys. Like everybody's got a very small inner circle of what they would consider their boys. What do you do? Jay, you got any input on that? You feeling any kind of way about that?
No, I'm thinking about like two of my friends that are like brothers to me. And I would have to say that I would have to be like, bro, we gotta talk. Like I honestly am the guy that would probably get both of them together and be like, y'all gotta work this shit out. Like he's saying
Gerald coming in with an ambush.
he's saying this, bro. I love both of y'all as my brothers, and I don't want to be in between this shit. I'm not trying to hold on to this shit because I don't want
something like that as a man. If you care about your friends, something like that as a man eats at you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't just be settled with that. It's a heavy cross that you have to bear when you know something like that.
Right.
And it's hard to feel like any answer is the right answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you got Ruben that's like, I ain't saying nothing. You got Jay had that's like, I would have said something.
But I'm not saying Ruben's wrong for not saying something though. Like he has his reasons why he didn't. And for me, I would just be like, I can't hold on to this. Like you're my best friend. You're also my best friend, and you're messing him over. Like we're supposed to be friends. There's a code, like a code that you don't touch.
A bro code.
Yeah.
You
Pun intended.
bro code. Like what's going on, bro? Like so that stuff has to be off limits, I think.
I agree.
Or it should. It should be.
To me, the reason why I didn't say anything is I know I wasn't the one doing wrong.
Right.
But I know I was going to be the one that got in the most shit.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, why put myself in that situation?
So self-preservation for Ruben.
You got to, man. No one else is looking out for you, bro.
Right.
You know,
Gotcha, bro. I hope nothing bad is ever happening behind my back because you're a letdown as a friend.
Hey, look. To me, this was many moons ago. Did I lose you guys?
No, you're still
okay. Yeah. So this was like many moons ago, and it was, to me, I kind of realigned everything with across the board. To me, I'm very selective few now, right? And to me, the few that I select with really don't really mess with each other. So it's kind of like it would never happen again. But to me, rethinking it, I would have probably handled the situation differently. But I mean, young and dumb, man. You don't want to come off as, like where I'm from, you don't want to be the snitch, right? Regardless of the way it is. So
I never knocked on nobody.
so to me, I'm like, I was wrong one way or another. So I'm like, there was no right.
Right. Yeah. I
Joe?
mean,
Bruh. So if I was caught in a situation like that, I think I'd first try to talk with the guy that was messing up and just be like, bro, get it together. Like, you know better. And you cannot continue to do what you're doing. It's just not right.
Mhm.
Now, there was no talking any sense into him. I might then talk to the girl and just be like, hey, you're putting both of you guys in a bad situation.
Mhm.
Everybody's friends. Let's think about it. And if I couldn't get through that way, I think I'd be like you, man. I think I'd just keep my mouth shut at that point. I wouldn't want to
bring attention.
Right. I wouldn't want to push it past that. At that point, I'd be like, okay, well, if it ever did come to light what was happening, I'd just plead ignorance at that point. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't know what happened. That's news to me. I can't believe it.
Now, what if they say, man, Joe, I told you.
You ain't tell me.
You didn't tell me.
You told me shit.
You must got the wrong one because I didn't know nothing. So I think I tried to work it out on the back end. And then if it just couldn't be worked out, I might even consider, hey, why don't you just cut ties? Make it clean, just so that nobody's really hurt.
Right.
But it's tough, man. Like you care about your boys, you look out for your boys,
Right.
and you think, I wouldn't want to put that beef on anybody, but at the same time, you're like, am I really being a good friend to this guy that I'm supposed to be good friends with when I'm letting his chick and his other friend do something that I know is wrong and I'm not telling him? So that's a tough situation to be in. Like I said, I really don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer.
Well, I have a quick little story time because this actually happened to me back in high school.
Is it the Tony Romo story?
No, it's not Tony Romo's story.
Bro, we're going to tell that story.
High school, bro. Aikman,
Okay.
Aikman was our quarterback in high school.
Okay.
No, I had a girlfriend back in high school, and I had close friends that were girls and guys, and they knew that she was messing around. No one said not a word to me for months, and I'm just like,
So how do you know they knew?
They told me afterwards.
Why would you rat yourself out? That's
I don't know,
stupid.
man. I don't know. But
that guilt eats at you, man.
After it was our last pep rally, and I remember this very, very vividly. And Joe, you know the girl that actually had the cojones to come and tell me to my face. It was like, I can't hold this in anymore. Is cheating on you. And it was just like, okay.
Who told you?
That's afterwards. That's
give me initials.
I'm not. That's Patreon talk.
Okay.
But and I love her to this day, bro.
To this day.
To this day. To this freaking day, bro.
To this day.
I love her to death for actually having the courage to come up and tell me, hey, I saw this with my own eyes. This is what's going on.
If I'm thinking who it is, there's a lot of C's involved. A lot of C's.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. But like I said, it's not a good feeling when everybody else around you knows, and then you start playing stuff back in your head. Like,
Bro, you feel like the biggest fool, dog.
Yeah.
you do.
You got played by everybody.
Yeah.
Like you start thinking in your mind, everybody was laughing at me.
Yep.
And we probably were, but
yeah, I'm sure you probably knew.
You probably were, Joe.
I was too
I ain't saying shit.
I was too busy playing football to care about anything else, and that was my biggest mistake in life. But yeah, man, it's a tough spot to be in. If you're ever caught in that spot, hit us up and let us know, and we'll be more than happy to do it for you.
We'll try and counsel you through it.
We'll put it out on the podcast for you. If you need somebody to tell on your friend, we'll do it. We won't even have to tell them who told us.
Yeah.
So
I mean, in the end, we really don't know you, so
yeah.
You know what is it? We're just reading names over here.
Yeah, that's all it is. So if you got hate in your heart, let it out. Let it out.
If you have hate in your heart, let it out.
Or we'll let it out for you. So guys, another successful podcast in the books. It was a blast. We'll get to work on getting the final video out to everybody. Thank you again, Ruben A. Smith, for joining the podcast.
Yes.
Julio Don, shout out for being on the road, trying to make them ducats. T, get better soon, brother.
Yes.
We're there with you, so we're praying for you, and we know you'll recover soon. Mm-hmm. And before we let you go, see you again next. Hey, we got Liquid Death over here. If y'all want to sponsor us, before we let you go, though, it's time to say goodbye. I gotta let y'all know this has been Big Joe. That ain't no sock in my crotch. Peace.
Wow. He actually did it, folks. Wow.
I told you I would.